Welcome back to Rumor Society. On this channel, we share our opinions on social media stories and headline news. Now let's get into today's story. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to a story time. This young lady will be telling us a story about what happened to her mom, how her mom was unalived 3 days after she was proposed to.
Okay, this is part one of me telling my mother's story. My mom, Lakeisha Fluker Thompson, was May 24th, 2023. By a man that she put her trust in, a man that she thought loved her, a man that she thought really cared for her, a man that was very manipulative. We did not want my mom to even go to Georgia because a couple weeks prior, or maybe like a week or two prior to that, he was calling my phone, kind of like talking crazy to me a little bit, trying to manipulate me into telling him things about my mom. So that kind of was like triggering to me a little bit, because it just made no sense why he felt that he could reach out to me and trying to get information from about my mom. And May 12th, 2023 at 4:23 a.m. he texted me and said, "Thanks, Andrea, for blowing up my world." And I texted him back and said, "What does that mean?" He says, "I told you not to tell your mom I called." So, like I said, he had called me trying to get me to tell him things about my mom, and I wouldn't. So I told my mom that was weird to me. So this is what he says to me. "You knew your mom and blank was fucking, and you told her anyway. That's cold, Andrea. I thought we were better than that. I bought the ring and the ticket for Sunday, was going to propose and surprise her, and tonight they told me they were fucking." I went to my mom's house and I was like, "Mom, I don't know what this is. I don't know what he's talking about. Why would you tell him that you have some other things going on elsewhere and blah, blah, blah?" She looked at me and she was like, "I never told him any of that. Like, I never confessed to doing something with somebody else." And he wanted me to kind of basically agree with him and act like I knew what he was talking about, and to basically like tell on my mom. So that same day, that was like triggering to my mom, and she was like crying about it. She was like sad about it, whatever. And they were on the phone, I guess, that entire night. Like I said, that was at 4 something in the morning when he started texting me. So he had her on the phone that whole time after that, and that whole day. So I had got a phone call from one of my siblings that was like, "Mommy been on the phone with dude, and he was going to kill himself." So my mom was broken into pieces. She was frantic. She was like going crazy. She's crying so much, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, he goes completely silent on the phone. We called 911 from Detroit to Georgia, gave the address, and told them to go over there and do a welfare check on him. And he answered the door and he told them that, oh, he fell asleep on the phone. But how can you fall asleep on the phone when my mom is literally crying to you and asking you not to harm yourself? Ended up talking her into coming down to Atlanta, and she was agreeing with it because she felt bad. She's like, "I need to probably be with him, comfort him, like let him know that, you know, I love you," whatever. On May 18th or 19th, right now I don't have it on the top of my head, is when my mom left Detroit and went to Riverdale, Georgia. And she went to go see her boyfriend, and the first couple days that she was down there, it was good. She was so happy. She was like enjoying her time because she said that this was like a peace of mind to get away and also to be close to him because how she felt about what he was saying. But May 21st, he proposed to my mom and she said yes. She was happy. She was full of joy. The last time that I was on the phone with her, we were on FaceTime together and she was all over the place, like filled with so much joy. Like she posted it on Facebook. Like, I mean, my mom was literally excited. Her kids, not so much, because we felt like we knew what type of guy he was. I'm the oldest and I truly just wanted better for my mom, and I knew that he was not the one for her.
All right, so that was her part one. And the one thing I just noted was just he's a manipulator, and it's clear that what he did was he used her mom insecurities. He used it to garner him sympathy. And then I feel like reaching out to her eldest daughter about her, extremely inappropriate. Why are you trying to get her to, I guess, think that her mom is a liar and a cheater? Clearly lacks boundaries. Telling her mom that he was going to unalive himself, and got them all frantic to the point they even called the police department down there to have them do a wellness check on him, just for him to come to the door like, oh no, I was asleep. Yeah, clear manipulation. The point that the mom had to go down there and handhold him, clearly his display was to get her down there so he can have access to do whatever he wanted to do. Let's get into part two.
Hey y'all. Alright, so this is part 2. So I told y'all May 21st, my mother said yes, and she was overly excited. We talked multiple times, even sat on the phone the day before, May 23rd. We sat on the phone for like 17 minutes talking about how she wanted her wedding. Fast forward to May 24th at about 3:40ish in the morning. I received a call from her fiance, and he started the conversation off by saying, you need to call your mom. You need to get your mom. She just left walking. I simply told him, well, you need to go get my mom because my mom not from there. She shouldn't be walking. She shouldn't be in no area that she not even familiar with. Like, that don't even sound right. He said, you just call your mom phone because she left it here and I'm looking for it. I need to find it. So I said, if my mom don't have her phone,
what am I calling
why
her
would
for?
you let her leave walking? Like,
at 3 a.m.
This is still not adding up to me. But almost 4 o'clock in the morning, I gotta go to school in the morning. So I'm not really thinking full blown nothing bad about it, because I had my mom's location, so I checked the location just to make sure that the phone was still at his house like he said. And the phone was still there. But I'm not understanding how she lost, how he said that she lost her phone in the house and they was looking for it. And then they start arguing, and she left walking. So I asked him, okay, well, what y'all arguing for? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, y'all should be asleep by now. He like, cause your mama drunk. I told her that I didn't want to marry her alcoholic ass, and she said she didn't want to marry my dope fiend ass. Since I'm such a dope fiend, then we shouldn't be together. And you knew about her, still talking to your stepdad, and if she don't want to be with me, she don't gotta be with me. You know, just going on and on and on about them arguing. And he said, in the middle of them arguing, she threw her ring and said that she was over it. She didn't want to do this no more. So I politely asked, can you just go find my mom, please? Like, once you find my mom, then I could calm her down. I could talk to her, whatever. He said, oh, wait, here she go right here, ringing the doorbell excessively and banging at the door. She just keep banging at the door, ringing the doorbell. And I'm like, well, I don't hear no doorbell. I don't hear no doorbell, or I don't hear no banging or no loud noise. And then he started yelling and hung up the phone. So that kind of like threw me for a loop a little bit because I never heard the doorbell. I just gave it a little time, and then I called my mom's phone since he said shh, it was her at the door. But she never answered, and that was the last time I heard from him. I really only went back to sleep because they do a lot of arguing. So I feel like this was kind of just like the norm for them. Like, so I went back to sleep, not knowing that I would wake up and my life would be completely ruined. At 9:30 that morning, oh y'all, this so hard. Whew. At 9:30 that morning, May 24th, I received a phone call from an Atlanta, Georgia number, and I wasn't going to answer because it wasn't his number. It wasn't a known number to me. So when I answered the phone, I'll never forget this. The man said, "Hello, am I speaking with Andrea?" I said, "Yes." Max, who's calling? He said, "Are you Lakeisha's daughter?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your mother has passed." My entire body went numb. I didn't understand what he was saying. I couldn't process what he was saying. Yeah, I'm sorry. And I said, "Well, how did she pass? What is going on?" And he said, "I'm sorry, but it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head." Y'all, telling this story is so hard. So I'm going to take a break and make a part 3.
I don't even need to hear the rest of the story. Just from the blatant manipulation and then constantly calling her to let her know, oh, your mom crazy, she doing this, she's sleeping around. Why are you bringing her daughter a part of y'all relationship? One of the things I heard her say is that after three something in the morning, talking about she stormed out, she left the house walking. You know she's not from Georgia. That's your girlfriend. Whether y'all breaking up or not, that's still somebody you allegedly care about. Why would you allow her to leave the house at 3 o'clock in the morning? As a viewer, what I don't understand is how can this man who claimed to love her mother, the same man that proposed to her 3 days earlier, allow her to leave the house at 3 a.m. or after 3, whatever time it was in the morning. It really doesn't matter what was going on. That was not safe for her. If y'all got into an argument, her leaving should not have been an option. One of y'all should have been sleeping on a couch or maybe in another bedroom if there was one available. Anything other than allowing her to leave the home. And then his story about her coming back and banging on the door or ringing the doorbell. If she was on the phone with him, she would have definitely been able to hear that. It's unfortunate that she had to find out from the medical examiner. You was calling her for everything else. Why didn't you call her to let her know what happened to her mom? Let's go on to part 3.
Hey y'all, this is part 3. The medical examiner's office told me self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. So I had a lot of questions that I wanted to know. Number one is, how can you guys determine if it was self-inflicted so fast? This just happened. You guys called me at 9:30 in the morning and telling me, and you guys told me that the phone call was at 7 something that morning. So how are you guys able to determine that without doing any type of investigation, no questioning for him, no, it's just because he was the one that made the 911 call, that's what you're going with. It's just self-inflicted. So the medical examiner's office told me that they had nothing to do with that I would have to go through the police department. So I called Clayton County's police department, and I was speaking with a detective. Her name is Detective, we have the same name, Detective Andrea Rosas. From day one of her answering the call, I knew that I was going to have trouble with trying to figure out what really happened to my mom. She was very nonchalant. She didn't show that she had any concern or really any care,
Wow.
which is okay with me. You probably deal with this type of stuff on a daily basis, so I don't really know. But I I wanted to know if an autopsy was done on my mom. So she told me that there was not an autopsy done on your mother because we know that this was
How do you
so,
know?
because we already know that she did it to herself, then we don't have to do an autopsy report because we already know the cause of death. So I was really left confused because I thought when everyone dies, everybody gets an autopsy, but no. So she told me that if I wanted an autopsy done on my mom, that I would have to come out of pocket with $7,000.
Wow.
So I knew that I didn't have the $7,000 to pay for an autopsy to be done. So now I want to know, well, are you guys investigating him? Are you guys looking at him at all? Am I able to hear the 911 call? Like, I don't understand none of this, and I would like some answers. Then I also asked her, well, are you able to tell me what side my mom got shot on? And I wanted to know this because that's a very important piece of information in my mom's situation, because my mom is left-handed. Not many people are left-handed. So I was thinking in my head, like, if my mom did it to herself, it would definitely be on her left side, on her dominant side. So they told me that they wouldn't be able to tell me that information.
What?
So I really didn't let this die down. I kept calling her, emailing her. I'm like, can you please just look at the case, reconsider life? And I know that this is not what it is. I sent her the screenshot of him calling me at 4 something in the morning. I told her everything, what I told you guys in part 2 about them arguing and stuff. I sent her the messages of him being insecure before she even came out there. I did all of that. So I just started emailing her back and forth. So she finally, I guess, I don't know why, let up and was like, okay, we're gonna get an autopsy report done to prove to you. I started to get a little bit of hope because I'm like, man, okay, the autopsy can show something different, and maybe things can go a different route from there. So she ended up getting the autopsy done, and when it was finished, she called me. But I told her, could you please email me everything that you said on the phone, because I didn't tell her, but I want to keep everything
Documented
in my email. So this is the message that she emailed me after the autopsy was done. When speaking with the medical examiner that performed the autopsy on your mother, he advised the entry gunshot wound was to the right temple with a diagonal trajectory path leftward and back. So the exit wound was in the area where the side of the head and back of the head kind of meet. He advised this is a common trajectory path for self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Furthermore, during the examination at the time of the autopsy, he noticed marks on the back of your mother's right hand, which was blood splatter. That would indicate that at the time of the shooting, her hand was in close range of the entry site for it to have blood splatter on the back of her hand. Taking those findings as well as her being intoxicated, there is sufficient to rule the manner of death as being self-inflicted. As I stated over the phone with the findings from the autopsy, I do not have any other evidence to further this investigation. So basically, she just told me that forget the fact that she's left-handed. Forget the fact that she got shot on her non-dominant side. Forget the fact that they were arguing. Forget the fact that they were in the house by themselves. And forget the fact that it was with his gun in his house. That's it. That's what we're going with.
No.
Guys, I'm so sorry. This story is long. I'm trying to explain everything that's happened since the day she passed up until now, which has me here doing this. Keep watching out for part 4. Thank you guys so much. I love you all.
It's given they didn't want to investigate. It's also given maybe that he knew someone in the police department. Like maybe he knew one of the detectives or something. I don't know. But it's not unlikely that someone would get people to unalive themselves. Like he could have easily took her hand, put it on top of the gun, put his hand on it, and shot her. He could have easily did that. It could have been evidence at the home that they missed. Because he called and said, "Oh yeah, she unalived herself. That's what we're going with." It just seemed like they were given, "Oh, just another black woman. Okay, we just gonna move past this." And then she also stated it was his gun. And how did she get access to the gun? Like, I don't believe none of that. And I don't think it's right that they were being so dismissive. And I think it's because, they're like, well, she's young. She don't have the resources. She was not a Georgia resident. Of course, they're gonna have questions about what happened to her. Self-inflicted gunshot wounds require ballistic testing, splatter examination. No, girl, they wasn't doing none of that. They just wanted to rule it out and move on to the next one. It's really messed up how the detectives handled the case. Someone said, yep, that's weird they didn't investigate. Someone is covering for him. That's the first thing I thought too. Someone said in your first video I watched, you said he was on the phone talking about how he knew she was still talking or dealing with her ex, your stepdad. That was the reason for doing what he did to your mom. I think he lured that lady down there. Whatever reason in his mind, he thought she was cheating. He wasn't gonna let that go. He was pissed off. Probably was down there going through that lady's phone, trying to prove to himself that she's cheating. Someone in the comments says, yeah, she didn't want to do her job. She definitely didn't. That cop didn't care, especially how nonchalant she was. Yeah, she didn't care.